Good day and welcome to Frontliner on UgamaTv, reaching you live from Enugu State. And today we'll be discussing issues around the process and the outcome of the governorship elections in the Southeast and how it impacts or affects the development and progress of the region. And with me in the studio to analyze this process is Dr. Augustine Okolie Martins. Dr. Augustine is a media development and management consultant and a senior lecturer of Enugu State Polytechnic, Iwolo Enugu campus. He was also director of National Orientation Agency, Enugu State. Dr. Augustine, you're welcome to the announcement, sir. So, how will you describe the March 18 governorship elections in Enugu State?
Well, thank you once again for having me. I would like to say that election taking is not an event, it's a process. It's a process with pre-election activities, election proper, and post-election activities.
Okay.
And when we talk about the March 18th gubernatorial election in Enugu State, it's a different kettle, it's a kind of a basket. We are all living witnesses. We observed it, we participated, and if you ask me, I will say that expectations were met, some other expectations were dashed. Some blame games, the process was said not to be according to the expectations of the people. But all the same, I think it passed the acid test of credibility.
Okay.
So I want to say that preparatory to the election, like I said, is not an event. Culminated in the preparation of the INEC, the agency of government, concerned with the taking of election, the management of the election. Now, INEC, that is the Independent National Electoral Commission, assured us, Nigerians, that everything is good to go before the election. They also assured us of the efficacy of the introduction of technology, the one they call Govs, that's bimodal voters accreditation system. That is where we had little issues because on the day proper, Govs did not come up with 100% efficiency. People were worried that INEC had disappointed. INEC is making excuses of the technology not working on some areas and working in some other areas. Talking about Enugu State, the elections are witnessed from 1979, 1989, 1999, 1993, 2003, 2007, 2011, 2015, 2019 to the present day is like only war, only preparation for war that can take precedence. What I mean is that the mobilization for election can only come second, only to war preparation. So it was a humongous, a huge preparation. Everything was taken off the table. Everybody was ready, particularly those who are participating, those who are conducting the elections. People cleaned and dusted their PVC, the permanent voters cards. So until the day came, election have come and gone. The pre-election activities have gone, the election proper have gone, but we are now at the top phase of the post-election activities.
Okay, thank you.
The analysis, the outcome, and the process.
All right, so I would like to chip in a little bit. Talking about the elections in Enugu, how it has been over the years, and looking at the just concluded election, you see that there is a bit difference in terms of the heated competition from Labour, APGA, APC. Then comparing the governorship election and the presidential election, you see that there was high turnout during the presidential election, but that was not so in the case of governorship election in Enugu State. So why, or what do you think is the reason to that?
Well, if you go down the lane, memory lane, Like I mentioned, 1979. I hope some of you will be shocked because I also witnessed it. 1999 to the present day. Enugu State used to be a homogeneous state in terms of the voting pattern. Then it was MPP. Everyone voted for MPP during the Jim era. From 1999 to the present day, it was a PDP. Okay. Because we have 260 councillors in Enugu State. We have 24 members of House of Assembly. We have 11 members of National Assembly. That is three members of the Senate and 8 members of the House of Representatives. Governor and President Enugu State have been voting monolithically as they vote in one party. They have been all one party. Now, this time around, during that period, I don't know what happened. It was up for grabs, up for contest. People had issues. Then I was a state director, National Orientation Agency in Enugu State from 2005 to 2014. So we know the issues about mobilization, sensitization, and voter education, public enlightenment, and all sorts in terms of mobilization for elections. People now became apathetic. Apathy descended in the land. Some people were not interested again because of mostly the outcomes. There's no way 100% people voting in the same direction all the time. So this time around, because of the INEC promise that votes will count, that preparations were made, introduction of the beavers machine, and the duty and role of the machine was to accredit and to ensure there was no identity theft. People cannot come and just vote anyhow. Have to be accredited properly, identified as the owner of the card and person is eligible to vote. Then the beavers machine was also supposed to upload the results real-time online. So people now woke up, people now left the fence and registered like never before. The general election. But after the first election, according to a question, that's the presidential and national assembly elections, INEC started making excuses. INEC made excuses because the uploading of the National Assembly Rep and Senate was done, even though partially, but the presidential results were not uploaded at all. So nobody knew why, and they were kind of a tsunami. They were kind of the third force. The Labour Party came up. Remember our own dear Peter Obi, coming from the Southeast, was contesting. There are about 18 to 19 contestants of that presidential election. But we know that we had a kind of 3.5 horse races. So we call it 4 horse races, but I say 3.5. That is PDP, APC, and the Labour Party. So those are the frontliners. The NMPP of Opaso movement were also there. I gave them half a chance. And before the election, there was kind of hype and hoopla, kind of hope rising that this time around, based on the campaigns, based on the turnout, based on the roadwork, based on the social media activities, nobody can really put his finger on the actual person going to come out tops. Some say Peter Obi is going to win. Some say Atiku Abubakar PDP is going to win. Some also said and predicted that Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu of APC will win. So then after that election, the hope of most people were dashed. And some people were also jubilating. Remember, if they pay you, they sweet us. So when you lose, it pains you. When you win, it sweets you. So it was a topsy-turvy affair of that election. So during the second election, that is the governorship and House of Assembly. Remember, this is on-cycle election, 4-year election, like Olympics. After 4 years, another 4 years. Then there are some other states that elections were taken. We want to call off-cycle or off-season elections. About 8 of them. So it was about 28 that were contested. The Benue State, Edo State, Kogi State, and some other states were not part of the election because they belong, I also belong to the off-season election due to judicial pronouncements. So, comparing the National Assembly and presidential election to the gubernatorial and House of Assembly elections, there was a kind of low turnout of voters. Like I mentioned earlier, there was what we call dash troops.
Yes. So I would like to chip in a little bit. So what do you think happened different between the state and the presidential elections?
Now, it's a kind of management of expectations. During the second election, that is the gubernatorial and the House of Assembly elections, INEC was more efficient. They were able to convince us that they are now ready, that they have corrected the errors of the first. That is one. Number two is that there was not much brigandage. The one is of electoral violence. The first one, like in some states, River States, Lagos States, some other states that I cannot mention here, but they are riddled with violence, threats, and threats of annihilations. Some people were said not to come out to vote if you're not voting for a particular political party. So the second election, the voter turnout was very, very low. It's a remarkable difference from the first and the second one. And two, after the first election, the presidential election, it was supposed to be on the 11th of March, but it was later postponed again to 18th. You see, when you are preparing for an event, an occasion, and so many postponements will dampen your enthusiasm. The enthusiasm was not as much as it was. So even the obedient movement that was supporting the Labour Party, so they're singing a different tone. That the obedient movement is not for Labour Party. They just identify with P2P. And they will start saying you can vote for any other person who has competence, who has capability, who has capacity, who is good in their own right. So the definitions and the relations of who to vote started flying in. Like I heard Aisha Yusufu, one of the female campaigners for P2B in the Labour Party. So they're saying that people should vote for people in other parties with competence. So the first zeal was diluted because of that delay.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for that. Let's move forward. Let's look at the events that played out during the voting process. Just few hours ago, the APGA governorship candidate in Enugu, that was Frank Wenke Jr., made a strong statement, same with the Labour Party candidate, concerning what they allege to be irregularities in the process. Mentioned the issues of violence, intimidation, voter inducement, and some other things with various facts. I don't know if I should read one or two things where he mentioned issues of crisis and they know where the House of Assembly, the candidate for APGA, was attacked. Then there was some gunshots at Nkanu West Coalition Center, then Nsuka and Nkanu East as well.
Well, I listened to the press.
So those kind of issues that piled up, do you think it actually amounted to what we say free, fair and credible elections?
Well, Peter Mbah was elected governor in Enugu State. Frank Wenke from APGA, who came third, also issued a press release and a press conference. Jujoke Idoga, the Labour candidate, Labour Party candidate, also issued a press statement condemning the conduct of the election. And most of the knocks went to the INEC. Like I said, hopes were dashed. For instance, the delay in declaration and the announcement of winner is one sore point. Two, there were issues of bypassing the beavers. There were allegations of beavers being bypassed. Remember, the law says there's an amended law, the electoral law. It was amended electoral law 2022, which also gives people hope and kind of guarantees that if the election is on at each of the polling units, that real-time online, after the election, counting, recording, and uploading, it will be uploaded live, real-time. That did not happen in most of the country. We're talking about Enugu State. I think most of them are about to go to court or have gone to court to challenge what happened. So, to avoid being subsidies, we will not go into details about the claims and counterclaims that have been made. But we are worried when after 72 hours, election took place on Saturday.
It was actually.
Then Sunday came and passed. Monday came and passed. Tuesday came and passed. We went to Wednesday, even Wednesday night, before INEC could. In fact, a kind of doing internal work on working on the election results. They have to even travel to Abuja, their headquarters, and back. So, in that kind of circumstances, it was shrouded in clouds. And but you see, what INEC told us they did was to remove those votes that did not follow the process, because they know they have what we call the back end checks of the beavers to know the total number of vote casts passing through the beavers and those outside it. And I think they did that in Kano East, where PDP, turned very high number of votes. They explained it because Peter Mba of PDP hails from that particular local.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for that. I will come to that issue of suspense. But looking at these events that happened, there were some areas. I remember one of the party agents said in Abapa, where he was live, there were issues where ballot boxes were snatched. They didn't count votes there, but those votes reflected at the end of the listing in the collation. So one will ask, how did these numbers come in to the final sheet?
Well, Enugu East local government is different from Kano East local government. The one I mentioned from Hababa is from Enugu East local government. And most of issues and champions of propaganda were at work. Social media enthusiasts were all at work. So all we listen to is INEC. INEC report and some credible observers and monitors. But it's not all the issues people raise about balance. If you snatch the box, they cancel the polling unit.
But
that's what belongs to INEC.
Okay.
It is INEC that will say balance box was snatched.
All right, sir. So coming to this issue of suspense, people argue, especially the opposition as a Labour Party agent, he was insisting to the reg that the result from Kano is be cancelled. And I think there is a provision in the Constitution, the Electoral Act, that gives INEC the will to rerun elections or cancel if there be any issue.
I think the power that was given to INEC is to review. INEC can review the elections and check complaints and allegations, whether what people are saying is correct or not. And there's an issue, a development from presidential and national assembly elections. At the National Collation Center in Abuja, we are all watching live, where the PDP Senator Dino Melari and the former Governor Emeka Ihedioha, we are complaining to the INEC chairman, who was supposed to be the returning officer of the presidential election, that there's a lot of complaints about the results coming from the manual calculations. That is the manual collation centers. Remember, it comes from the World Collation Center to the local government collation center, then to the state, before it now come to the national collation center. That the reports they have is that the results from the polling units did not tally with what they are presenting at the national headquarters. But remember, you know what? The national chairman of INEC, who is the returning officer, said that he's going to call the results and they can go to court. Now, we expected that should happen in Enugu, that they have no powers or they just use their discretion according to what the empowerment of the law gave them. That it is INEC can say how they will rely, what they will rely on to give their reports. I remember what happened was that people were saying the results, some of the results bypassed the beavers. So we are saying it was. Initially, it was the Labour Party that were clamoring that the result be called. Then why are they delaying the election? That they have won. That's why I can hear them say that, particularly the gubernatorial candidate, the governorship candidate, Chijioke Dore. We were worried as at Monday, after Sunday, he did a press conference, persuading INEC to call the results. Now, INEC knew that there was complaints also from PDP, from Nsukka local government, where they have returned another 30,000 plus.
But for the case of Nsukka, there was no issue as to the numbers.
There was an issue there.
INEC didn't.
No, let me tell you what happened. There was issues in Nsukka, at Udegu, at Kano East. The issues are that the number that turned in were much more higher than the accredited number of votes. That was what they were complaining. So if you say there was no issues, then you're missing the point.
Going from what the reg in Enugu said, after the review, they didn't find any case with the Nsukka results, but they had to reduce the economies from 30,350 to about 16,000 thereabout.
Well, let me help you.
Okay.
I think when they go to courts, most of the issues that happen will be unearthed, will be unveiled. INEC cannot tell you that students of UNN who were on holidays also voted, because INEC did not do a comprehensive review. All they reviewed is a particular complaint based on petition of the Labour candidates. So nobody can tell you that there was no issue. When they now go there, then PDP cannot come out totally with areas they have issues with. Labour cannot come out with areas they have issues with. Then the APGA also have issues that what happened was a sham. So I want to say that the issue is when they now present their cases before the courts, they now come out with total, going back to the backhand checks, the back checks of the beavers. Remember, if anything goes into the INEC portal, whether the upload of results, because initially I can hear INEC say that they can use their discretion, but that was not the truth. The truth was that the law, the framework of the law guiding election, their guideline, was saying that you should rely more on the uploaded election at the portal.
But that didn't happen at the portal.
But they will now use the manual collected results to compare and see the level of discrepancies and the threshold of differences. So what that didn't happen, and you see there's nothing to compare. If it is only the manually calculated one that they are now using. And if the upload, the one that is supposed to be uploaded from the polling unit, real time, where the agents of all the parties witnessed, and where they compare with the results that they are holding. So it's entirely different in some cases with the ones that they manually calculated, not only in Enugu State itself. So when they complain, maybe they have threatened to go to court to challenge the result. Remember I said that the process is more important to me than the outcome of the result. So following the process, INEC failed woefully without any regrets about the process, because most of the people, some of the workers don't even know how to operate the beavers. They are called ad hoc staff. Some of the workers did not even turn up for the election. So they picked anybody from the scene who is not prepared, who will claim he can now do the work. So when they go to the scene, to the election proper, some of them were confused about to handle the beaver machines. How can the National Assembly elections of the same polling unit, the same election, being uploaded and the presidential not being uploaded? But in the case of the governorship election, more than half of them were uploaded.
In real time.
Yes. So some of them did not even comply according to their own guidelines, according to the law. Because what is supposed to happen, what I witnessed, what I saw, was that some of them were even uploading at the rack. That's at the World Collection Office. We are supposed to upload at the polling unit, real time, and even the agents will see you upload it, and we show that you have been uploaded, then they can now go home. Then so that whatever happens to the result at the collection center, manual collection center, cannot alter what was uploaded. So when you take your results or the whole document to a collection center, most of the agents have gone. So that is gave room for manipulations, for doctoring, for corrections, for committing some kind of errors or mischievous errors. So all the knocks goes to INEC. Then remember, when two persons are contesting for election, everybody wants to win by hook or crook. Nobody will be talking about due process. It is only INEC's duty to ensure that they follow and comply with the due process of taking the election.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Austin. It's been a pleasure having you in the studio with us today. And don't forget, you're listening to UgamaTv, reaching you live from Enugu, and this is Frontliner. Stay with us for more updates. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Frontliner on UgamaTv, and we are reviewing the processes and the outcome of the just concluded election in Nigeria and the governorship election in Enugu State, and how this will impact on our democracy going forward. And with me in the studio is Dr. Augustine Okolie Martins. Dr. Austin is a media development and management consultant and a senior lecturer at the Enugu State Polytechnic, Iwolo, Enugu campus. All right, so Dr. Austin, before we went for break, we were trying to analyze INEC's position in the democracy, or let me say, in reflecting the will of the people, because this election is like no other since the history of Nigeria, and a lot of things have happened. Labour Party won in so many states. They have Senate representatives, they have a House of Reps members, and all of those things. Even at the states, coming to Enugu, for instance, there is 10 to 14 ratio between Labour and PDP. And you know, a whole lot will depend on these numbers moving forward, more especially that the governorship elect in Enugu is from the ruling party, and more or less is the figures is 14 to 10. Are you concerned? Do you think it will influence the governance of the governor-elect in the PDP?
Well, what is important in democracy is the will of the people. Power belongs to the people, and the people have expressed, they have spoken very, very loudly. I think what happened in the Enugu election was a reflection of the obedient movement powered by Peter Obi. Peter Obi is from Southeast. The first election was even worse, where the National Assembly, out of 8 members of House of Reps, they took 7, and the PDP only retained 1 senator. The senators were almost the same thing. So it's only 1 senator, only one, I think 1 rep was retained. Yes. Like I said earlier, that from the beginning, Enugu, from 1999 to date, Enugu have maintained 100% membership and elections. Like we have 260 councillors, it's PDP. We have 24 members of House of Assembly, PDP. We have 17 local government chairmen, all elected with PDP. We have 11 members of the National Assembly, 8 rep, and 3 senators, all PDP. So from 1999 to date. So this time around, that jinx was broken. At least this one was more competitive. The election, there's a lot of hype, a lot of hoopla, a lot of noise about that Enugu is going to be swept, the Southeast is going to be swept by Labour. And they almost justified that hype because in the Southeast, where PDP was holding, that is Abia and Enugu, They have now lost governorship in Abia, but they managed to retain governor in Enugu. In the House of Assembly, PDP took the minority position. I think they're having 10.
Yes.
And the Labour now be majority, have 14. So these are new developments. I think it will augur well for democracy. Since the PDP have taken governor, Mr. Peter Mba is the winner or the governor-elect. I don't think it will impact negatively on his administration, because Peter Mba is a man who have come to work. What is important is that immediately you are sworn in as a member of the parliament, you are representing the entire state. They are no longer talking about party. They are in a hurry to rectify what is going on in Enugu, what has happened in the past. So I think they will work together. All of them are from Enugu. And if you ask me, I may smile and tell you that all of them are from PDP. Those who failed to be nominated by PDP went to Labour and got nominated. So majority of them are the same one pence. So as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Peter Mba, the incoming governor, will not have any issues if he plays his card well. The important thing is that he uses parameters of competence. Who can do what, who can deliver on what, and who can key into his agenda, development agenda, and his blueprint of economic and political development in Enugu State. But if he plays politics, then you might begin to notice that he's in a minority party. So, but I think he will not be politically minded. He will be forward-looking. He will be issue-minded as in his campaign. His campaign was issue-based. He was talking about the real issues that affect the people of Enugu State. I think he's going to do that line, and they begin to rectify the damaged infrastructure in Enugu State, and they are going to bring about good governance. He will be governor of entire Enugu State. He will not be governor of Kano. He will not be governor of Ogun or governor of Abuja or Nsukka. He will be minded with issues. He will be minded with objectivity and not subjective issues of discrimination and so on. I think he will do well when he's sworn in.
All right. Thank you very much. And going forward, let's look at the scenario that played out in Abia State, the results from Obingwa and the issues that surrounded the entire process.
Well, I think Abia is a little different from Enugu. Enugu from 1999 till 2023 have maintained PDP. But in Abia, once upon a time, another party came. I think, is it AA or what? There was another party that took governor there. Now, before PDP came back. So it is a kind of topsy-turvy arrangement in Abia. And we have a kind of bottom-heavy arrangement from Okwangwa area and the other northern Abia. So they are having their zoning pattern in Abia State. The zoning worked, but they tried to subvert the zoning. And that's why people voted against that arrangement. Okay. I think what happened was that Mr. Oti has contested for governor. I think this is going to be the fourth time. So he have tried to contest under PDP, it couldn't work. He contested under APGA, it couldn't work. He contested under APC, it couldn't work. He now came to Labour. And the momentum of Labour, the trajectory of Labour, helped him. I can hear him say, I won without Obi. But I don't think it is so. Obi's movement, Obi's wave affected the whole country, including Abia State.
Yes, I was going to come to that because a lot of us believe that Obi is the major reason why most of these candidates emerge winners at their various levels. But after winning an election and you come out to make such statement, do you think it actually sits well? Do you think this shows a level of, should I say, sportsmanship? For me, it rings a bell like they were not really this synergy. They were just waiting for the election.
There must be a reason why he was saying that. But I want to say, if you go back to history, there was once upon a time I had NSAS. NSAS was like a mini revolution in Nigeria. The people have been enduring for a very, very long time against the political elite. The expectation was so high, but the delivery was so low. People were not happy with what is being given, what was promised. So it's not only peculiar to Abia State, but in some places you have the superlative, you have the other degrees of assessment of performance. I don't know whether Abia was able to meet with the red line. I think Abia administration, Abia used to complain that they are not so lucky with the type of governors they have. But you see that in politics, you get a leader that they deserve, from Waju Okalo to T.A. Oji, then to Victor Okeze Ikpeazu. Other people have been lamenting. It's a case of lamentations from Sodom. But this time around, the person who they think can deliver, the person who they think that their voters or their votes count or counted in the immediate past election, and they can see celebrations all over the place. Poor delivery is one. Apart from obedient movement and what the governor-elect was saying, I think the people were tired of the old order. The people were very, very tired, and they wanted a change, a positive change. And before, they cannot change it because their votes did not count. And this time around that the power was returned to the people. They wanted to utilize it optimally and maximally, to use their votes to change things. I think that is what happened. It's not a case of alone that Oti was popular. He was indeed popular, but what helped him was the wave of change. Okay. The wave of, they want to see different faces. They want to see different regime. They want to see a different party. They want to see different trajectory and different momentum. And he came in the way of Labour Party. And the leadership of Labour Party was also sweeping across like a hurricane across the country. And people will be coming from Southeast. I don't know what's going to happen in Anambra when they will now take, because their own was off-season. But in the House of Assembly, the Apoga that was traditional in Anambra took the majority. But this come second was Labour. But Labour took almost all the National Assembly in Anambra. So nobody can claim that he won alone. There was an element of influence of Labour wave. So I don't think that what the governor is saying, but there's no smoke without fire. Sometimes the governor, the presidential candidate did not pay attention so much to some people. I don't know why. But even in Enugu,
if you want to compare Abia and I think he paid more attention to Oti than Doga in Enugu.
That is what I'm saying. I wanted to draw that particular link. That there was a way Peter was not carrying most of his gubernatorial candidates along. He was rather giving some of them cold shoulders. I don't know why Oti decided to begin to say that Peter is of no influence. It has something to do with either support, moral support or financial support, or other issues that we cannot see in the public domain. But like I said earlier, there's no smoke without fire. Everybody knows in Nigeria that the labor movement changed a lot of things. It changed the voting pattern. It changed the voting map. It changed the winning and the losing map of the entire country. Even the places, traditional places like Lagos, even though they returned their governor, but it's not like a business as usual. Yes. So what we saw was that going forward, it is only INEC that now becomes the variable that is dependent or independent. They claim that they're independent, but what they did was showing that the ruling party have influence in all that. You will see that most of them are complaining against INEC. They are trying to dance to the tune of the ruling party. That's the allegation. I'm not trying to confirm that.
Okay, so, elections have come and gone, and more or less, everyone seems to be hidden. There were a lot of reported tension, even I think the murder of a ward or local government PDP chairman in Ebonyi State, and APC emerged. So can you, let's try to analyze the situation in Ebonyi. Do you think there was this force of incumbency on the people and the whole process, because there were issues of inducement, threats, and a lot of things happened in Ebonyi. More or less, we didn't get to hear more of those things. Can you just...
Well, we were all witnessing what happened in Ebonyi State. I cannot remove the fact that the incumbency factor played a role. The incumbency factor in the sense that the outgoing governor did a lot of infrastructural work. Only that he left much to be desired in human angle and human relations. The introduction and the banning of Ebubago was another case in point. It was high-handed, the governor. and the people, and particularly the opposition parties. Was able to intimidate a lot of people, was able to push in his weight, using all the, after all, he was not even supposed to call a contest. He contested for president and also for Senate. So he was able to manage power, because when you get power, the next thing is how do you use the power? So I can give him kudos for the infrastructural facility. I also give him kudos for knowing what he wants using power. Some governors have power, but they do not even know how to manage power. They don't know how to use power for their own advantage. I think optimally, Nwezo Mahe was able to do that, chasing away people like Sam Egu, also, and so on. Even though there's Pius is having issues with anti-party activity.
Yes, he has been suspended.
So there are a lot of conspiracy, internal conspiracy and external conspiracy. From those, even our disobedient, some of the party who are tired with the what is going on in development, try to sabotage and support their opponents to make a point. So in Ebonyi State, I want to say that the result there was also like a tsunami. It was the incumbent governor, that's the outgoing governor, Nwezo Mahe, even went beyond my expectations and imagination, that he could sweep across from Ohoza, his area to Izi, to the core Eza people in Ebonyi State. So he did well. I think it can be explained by what I've been able to put on ground after 8 years in terms of infrastructure. But I don't give him much kudos for human relations. I don't give him much kudos for the little tiny, what we call democracy dividend, those things you cannot see. Those little human relations and all the rule of law in place like a Brigham Beach in Ebonyi State.
All right, so the elections have come and the results are out, and the people are trying to get back to their activities, normalize the way of living, and look forward to what these new governments will bring on board. And to some extent, we now have Labour. Among the 5 Eastern states, we have Labour, Abia State, APC, Ebonyi State. We have Imo APC. We have Enugu PDP, and which other one am I forgetting?
Well, there are 5 states in Southeast.
Yes.
It was like a potpourri. Imo took APC took Imo. Apoga took Anambra.
Yes.
Ebonyi took APC. Then Enugu retained PDP.
Okay. So what I'm driving at is what will be the effect of this individual listing and the synergy of the Southeastern governors?
Well, we expect the governors. We expect the Southeast Governors Forum. I think the quality of governors who have been on board now are better than the outgoing governors. My expectation is that they should come together, look at our peculiar interests, the interests of the Southeast people, interests of Indigo, the peculiar socioeconomic
security issues. And
yes, that's what I'm trying to quote. When they come together and look at the issue of Mazen and the Kano, they'll also push, like Governor Soludo is pushing that it be released. They also have to push to have an economic commission for Southeast, so that they have what we call areas of jurisdiction, the areas we have competence, and the areas of production advantage, what we call the comparative advantage, because we have, the electoral states and those who have offshore. Most of the states in the Southeast are now oil producing, like Enugu is oil producing, Anambra is oil producing, Abia is oil producing, and Imo is oil producing, except Ebonyi. So they know how to organize, how to consolidate those advantages, how to come together and look at issues without, mindful of party affiliations. Because outgoing governors did not cooperate, they were rather suspicious of each other. The former governor of Anambra State never attended the meeting, said that some of them were also trying to destabilize Anambra. So this time around, with Professor Soludo on board, Peter Amba on board, and the governor of Imo State, and the incoming governor from I think they can, kind of skim up a particular, consensus, moving with one interest, moving with one focus, and with interest of the security, the economy, and the political atmosphere of Southeast, that is indeed. Because people will say, you also try to find a way to push the Southeast agenda into the mainstream of Nigerian politics. Because we have not belonged to minority
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Austin. I think this is where we draw the curtains for today. And this is Frontliner on UgamaTv, reaching you live from Enugu. It's been a wonderful time with Dr. Augustine Okolie in the studio. He is a media and development management consultant. He's also a senior lecturer of Enugu State Polytechnic, Iwolo, Enugu campus. It's a pleasure having you there.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
All right.
I'll do it once again.
All right, you're welcome.